Why play Veigar Mid? Well, he has infinite scaling, he has insane burst damage, he's great at zone control, and he actually has pretty good range. However, he lacks any mobility at all, and he does have a weaker early game needing time to scale. Veigar's passive is amazing. Veigar gains a stack of his passive every time he hits an enemy with an ability, and he gets 5 stacks every time he gets a champion takedown. In addition, he gets another stack every time he last hits something with his Q, and each of these stacks are worth 1 ability power. And as we know, 1 ability power is worth about 20 gold. Every time he gets one of these passive stacks off, it's worth 20 gold of damage. Veigar's Q is a straight line skill shot which deals damage to the first 2 enemies hit. And as this hits 2 targets, if you last hit 2 things with this, you get 2 stacks of his passive. Veigar's W places a circle on the floor, and after a short delay, enemies within take damage. An interesting component of Veigar's W is the cooldown isn't reduced with levels. Instead, the cooldown is reduced every time he gets 50 stacks of his passive. So, the later the game goes on, the more passive stacks you get, and the shorter this cooldown, which is just another way in which Veigar infinitely scales. Veigar's E places down a cage on the floor after a half-second delay. Enemies who walk into it are knocked down and stunned. Veigar's ultimate is a point-and-click ability which deals damage to the target hit. The damage is massively increased depending on their missing health, so it's a great execute tool. For combos, very simply place down your E and then follow up with W into your Q, attack, and ult. For matchups, Veigar is amazing into champions who can't pressure him too much early and he will blow up later. And he can struggle into assassins who want to sit on him as much as possible and abuse his low mobility. For runes, take this. First strike gives you more money and damage, and you want that. For build order, start a ring and pot into Ludens and tier 2 boots. After this, a Storm Surge and Hat are great pickups before finishing a build with any of these as needed. For skill order, start Q then W then E before maxing Q then W then E, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Starting the game, your main focus is going to be on scaling into a late game god. Most champions in the game will be fighting over 2 resources that they need to scale into the late game, which is gold and experience. Veigar, however, is cheating the system by having a third way to scale through his passive. Every passive hit gives you 1 ability power which is worth 20 gold, which is about the same as a minion. So, you want to be last hitting with your Q as much as possible, and every time you can use it to also poke your opponent, hey, that's a free 20 gold worth of ability power. So keep farming away using E to keep yourself alive if you're ganked or if your opponent engages on you. And when you hit level 6, you now have access to insane single target damage. So if your opponent ever gets too low, just simply quickly combo them out, then get back to farming. Entering the mid game, your bot lane will come mid, which puts your gold and experience in a side lane. So keep pushing it out, having a massive focus on getting more passive stacks before rotating back with your team. Entering late game team fights, you want to play as the backline mage. Keep spamming out Q and W for tons of damage while using E to zone off any enemies from your backline. If a squishy walks into this, full combo them dead, or when something gets low, let them have your ultimate. And that's how to play Veigar Mid. If this video helped you, leave it a like and comment below who you want to see next.